Hi, Malia. This is Gay Narron. We're going to be talking about the Jimmy Carter election campaign, and it is Sunday, June 1st. What do you remember about the political climate leading up to the 1980 election?
So I was a junior in college, and it was going to be my first election to vote in. And I had the opportunity to go and live in DC and work on the Carter Mondale reelection campaign. Excuse me. And the big things going on in the world at that time, two or three things. One was we were in a time of stagflation, so high inflation and high unemployment. And then we were in an energy crisis, so shortages of gas and high prices for gas. And then the Iran hostage issue was going on. So there were the economy was probably the biggest issue that people were really unhappy about. So that was sort of the climate for the reelection.
How would you describe Jimmy Carter's presidency before the reelection began?
I think, Carter was a really great person. I got to meet him, and he was really great. And he was a great politician, but the world and the economy at the time was so bad, and he did not seem to be able to get things changed in a way that people were comfortable with his presidency. But on foreign relations, like he was responsible for the Camp David peace accords between Israel and Egypt. He won a Nobel Peace Prize for that. He also negotiated the Panama Canal Treaty that turned the canal over to Panama, which is so funny because right now our current president is trying to do away with all these things. He started the Department of Education, again, being done away with, and the Department of Energy. So he did a lot of really good things, but the economy, just like now in our current culture, when the economy is bad, people look for anything that might change that, maybe in a little short-sighted way.
Did you support Carter's reelection?
I did, and I worked on the campaign. I was a unpaid intern. I was living in DC and getting college credit for that while I did it. And it was a blast. It was great. I loved politics. That was one of my majors in college. And so, I just did all kinds of things, mostly for the legal department.
How did Reagan's campaign strategy differ from Carter's?
So Reagan, coming in as governor after having been a governor in California, kind of came in with these really problematic things going on in the country. So his strategy was really to attack and blame Carter for all of them. So the economy, the hostage crisis, and so his big thing was asking the American people, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? He would always say that in his speeches and debates. And of course, economically, people did not feel better off than they were. So he had a lot of things he could attack, and that was really his strategy. Also, he was promising to, again, sort of similar to now, promising to return the country to traditional values.
How did you feel on election night in 1980?
Well, I felt very sad. So that election was over pretty fast. It was called really fast. Everything went for Reagan. And we were at the Washington Hilton Hotel in a big ballroom. And very early on, I don't think there's really been an election night that I recall, especially in recent years where sometimes they go on for days, where it was so obviously over. And so President Carter and his family came, and just a huge crowd in the ballroom, and announced that he had called Reagan and conceded the election. I don't think it was even 9 p.m. and polls, don't even close till 8, at least Central Time. So it was sad. And living in Washington, D.C., when the party that is in presidency, so the Democrat Party, when the opposite party wins, it's a city where you can like feel it, like it's breathing. Like anybody who worked for the majority party now was either going to be out of a job, or it just felt like a whole really difficult atmosphere. Friends were losing their jobs because the Congress also changed over in who was leading the party. So it was a time of upheaval, and watching Reagan, I'll say my biggest memory before I left DC was Ronald Reagan in the White House looking over to Lafayette Park, which is right across from the White House, filled with homeless people. And the headline in the Washington Post was, Reagan says there are no homeless people in DC. And I thought, that is the reality of what his presidency was. He was blind to the needs of the country.
Thank you.
You're welcome.